Hello everyone, myself Professor Nikita Ugale. Today we will discuss the topic fundamental circuits and fundamental cut sets. This topic is from the graph theory. Okay. So first of all, let G having vertex set V and edge set E be a connected graph and T be a spanning tree. We call spanning tree T. Then first of all, what is branch and what is chord? Branch means all edges of the spanning tree are called the branches, and the chord means the edges that are not present in the spanning tree are called chord. So first we discuss what is fundamental circuits. So for fundamental circuits we need a chord. When one chord is added to a spanning tree, it creates exactly one cycle, and this cycle is called as the fundamental circuits corresponding to that chord. It consists of chord and unique path in the spanning tree consisting endpoints of that chord. Next, fundamental cut set. So fundamental cut sets, for fundamental cut sets we need the branches. For that, when one branch is removed from the spanning tree, the tree split into two components. The set of all that edges that reconnects two components is called the fundamental cut sets corresponding to that branch. These cut sets contain branch itself and all chords that connects the two resulting components. So here are some steps to find out the fundamental circuits. For fundamental circuits, first write down the branches and chords from the spanning tree. After that, for step 2, we need to pick one chord and add it to spanning tree. So after adding that chord in the spanning tree, we will get the closed path, means one cycle, and that cycle is the fundamental circuit corresponding to that chord. We need to repeat the process for all the chords. So here number of fundamental circuits is equals to number of chords. Here is one example. Find all fundamental circuits of the following graph G with respect to the spanning tree T. This is graph G and this is spanning tree of this graph G. First, in the solution, first we have to write down all the chords and all the branches from the given spanning tree. So here first we will write here branches and chords from the spanning tree. So branches means the edges that are present in the spanning tree. So here we can see that A, B, C and D, 4 edges are present in the spanning tree. Therefore branches are A, B, C and D. And chords means what? The edges that are not present in the spanning tree. So here the F edge is not present in here. Again E edge and G edge. So write down all that edges E, F and G. Then we need to find out the fundamental circuits. For that we need to write down all the chords, and for each chord we get the fundamental circuit. So chords are E, F and G. So write down E, F and then G. For E, we will write the fundamental circuit in the curly brackets. So for E, we need to pick that chord. We need to pick that chord E and put it here. So we get here one cycle. So this cycle is the fundamental circuit. So write down here the cycle contain E, the edge E, this one, E, B and then C. So that's it. This is fundamental circuit for the respective chord. Now again for second chord we need to again find out the fundamental circuit. So second chord is F. So draw F in the spanning tree. So this is F. We get here one cycle. This cycle is the fundamental circuit respect to that chord F. So write down here F.A.B. So we get here F.A.B. is the fundamental circuit. Now for next, the chord G, remove it and add the chord G. So this is chord G. Again we get here one fundamental circuit. So write down that circuit G, A, C, D. So write down all the edges here G, A, C, D. So that's it. We get all the fundamental circuit to respective chords. Okay. Next, steps to find the fundamental cut sets. For fundamental cut sets, we require the branches. So first, write down all the branch. Branch means what? Edges not present in the spanning tree. Then for step 2, pick one branch and remove it from the spanning tree. Then after removing that edge from the spanning tree, we get the two disconnected components, and the fundamental cut set include the removed branch and the all chords that connects that two components. We need to repeat the process for all branches. We get all the fundamental cut sets. Here is example. So for fundamental cut sets, we require the branches. Branches means what? The edges present in the spanning tree. So write down respective branches A, B, C and D. Then write down all the branches in table A, B, C and D. Again we get the fundamental cut sets. So we need to write down in a curly bracket. So here if we remove this edge A, we get here U5 separately, U1, U2, U3, U4. Remove that edge. So we get here graph like this. So we get here two disconnected components. U5 is separated and this one is separated. So two disconnected components. So for that we need to write the fundamental cut sets. So check whether which edge can we join, we get the connected, which chord can we join here and we get the connected graph. So if we join A, we get the connected. So first of all write down that A. Then if we join F, we get that is connected graph. So write down the edge F. Then if we join G, this again we get the connected one. Therefore G is also the fundamental cut sets. So all three is done. Therefore this is the fundamental cut set respect to this branch. Now for B. Now for B, if we remove that edge B, we get the U1, U2, U3, U4 and U5. Remove that edge B and draw all the edges from spanning tree A, C and D. Here we can see that if we remove that edge B, then we get the two disconnected components. So check which chords, after joining which chords we get the connected components. So write down that one. The first one, the branch itself B. If we join B, we get the connected one. Then if we join E, again we get the connected graph. So E is, then if we join this F, again we get the, if we join this, we get the connected one. Therefore F is also B, E, F. Okay. That's it. If we join G, there is no change. We will not get the connected one. Therefore we will not write the branch called G. Okay. Next, for C, remove U1, U2, U3, U4, U5, A, B, D. So here we get two components. This one is U5, U1 and U3, and this is disconnected, U2, U4. Okay. So find out the cut sets for C. C itself, if we join C, we will get the connected graph. Therefore C itself, write down C in fundamental cut set. Then if we join G, if we join here G, again we get the connected one. Therefore write down G. Then if we draw here E, again we get the connected, therefore write down E. Next, that's it. Then check for D. Remove that edge. So we get here U1, U2, U3, U4, U5, A, B, C. After removing D, we get the two disconnected components. This one is separated and U4 is separated. Okay. Therefore here are two disconnected components. So check which edge can, after joining which edge we get the connected one. So first one D itself, if we draw D, we get the connected one. Then check for next, if we draw G, so after joining G we get again the connected one. Therefore G. Next, if we draw E, we will remain with two disconnected components. So don't write E. Next, I think so that's it. This is all about the fundamental cut sets. So here total 4 branches are here. So we get 4 fundamental cut set respect to each branch. We will see next example. Here is next example. Find all fundamental circuits and fundamental cut sets of the following graph G with respect to spanning tree T. Here is graph G and here is its spanning tree T. So first of all we need to write down from the spanning tree all the chords and branches. Okay. So branches means the edges are present in the spanning tree. So you can see that here E1, E2, E7, E8 are the edges that are present here. So write down branches E1, E2, E7 and E8. Then write down respective chords. Chords means what? The edges that are not present in the spanning tree. So here we can see that E3, E4, E5, E6, okay, total 8 edges are there. So E6, E3, E4, E5 and E6 are the chords. So first we find the fundamental circuits. For fundamental circuits we know that we need the chords. So write down all the chords. Here chords are E3, E4, E5 and E6. Then write down fundamental circuits for each chord. Check again E3. E3 is the edge between V3 and V4. Join this edge. We get here cycle. So write down all the edges from that cycle. E3, then E7, E8, E1 and E2. Okay. Then for E4, if we join E4, E4 is the edge between V1 and V4. So join this edge. Again we get the cycle. Therefore the edges of that cycle are the fundamental circuit. So write down E4, E8 and E7. Okay. Then go for next. The next chord is E5. E5 means this chord. E5. Here we get the cycle. So write down all the edges of that cycle. So E5, E8 and E1. Write down here E5, E8, E1. Okay. Next, go for next. Next chord E6. E6 is the edge between V3 and V5. Again we get here one cycle. So write down all the edges from that cycle. So here E6, E8, E1, E2 creates a circuit. So write down that edges. E6, E8, E1, E2. So that's all about the fundamental circuits. Next we will find the fundamental cut sets for this spanning tree. Fundamental cut sets. So we know the fundamental cut sets requires the branches. So branches means what? The edges are present in that spanning tree. So first of all write down that edges. So here we are writing E1, E2, E7, E8. Okay. Then find out the fundamental cut set respect to that branch. If we remove E1 from that spanning tree, so we get here two disconnected components. So the edges that connect that disconnected components are comes in the fundamental cut set. So first one E1. E1 itself a fundamental cut set. So write down E1 first, then check all other chords. If you join this chord E5, then that will connect. Therefore write down E5. Then if we join this E6, here we will get the connected one. Therefore write down E6. Then if we join E4, we will not get the connected one, therefore don't write E4. If we join E3, we get the connected graph, therefore write down E3. Next E1, E5, E6, E3, that's it, all are covered here. So close the curly bracket. So this is the fundamental cut set respective branch E1. Next, find out the fundamental cut set respect to the branch E2. So remove E2 from the spanning tree. E1, E8, E7. We get two disconnected component. This one is first one and V3 is second one. So check whether which chords, after joining which chords we will get the connected graph. That chords we need to write down here. So first one is E2 itself. Then check for the chords. If we join E5, not get the connected one, therefore don't write E5. If we join E6, we get the here connected graph, so write down E6. If we join E3, again we get connected, then that's it. Then check for E7. So first of all write down E7 itself. Don't draw E7, E8, E1, E2. We get here two disconnected components. So first one is E7. If we join E7, we get the connected one. Write down E7. Check for all other chords. If we join E3, we get the connected one. Therefore write E3. Then if we join E4, we get the connected graph. Then write down E4. If we join E5, there will not get the connected graph. Therefore don't write E5. That's it. Then check for E8. Next branch E8. Again from spanning tree, remove the edge E8. So we get here the graph like this. So again we get two disconnected components. So E8 itself creates a fundamental cut set. So write down E8 first, then check for other chords. E6, if you join E5, again we get the connected one. E8, it is already written. If you join E4, then E3. So this is the fundamental cut sets respective the all branch. Okay. We will see next example. Same question is there. The graphs are changed. Graph is given. Its spanning tree is also given. Here age, we require the chords and branch, means age numbers, age names. So age names are not given here. So first of all we will write the age names to the respective graphs. So here we will write E1, E2, E3, E4, E5, E6, E7, E8, E9. Total 9 edges are there. In spanning tree, E1 is present, E2, E8, this one is E4 and E5. In tree there are always, if n vertex are there, there will always n minus 1 edges. Okay? So here total 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 edges are vertices are there. Therefore, 6 vertices are there. Therefore, there are 5 edges. So in the solution, first write down the branches and chords of the respective graph. So here the branches of that graph are E1, E2, E4, E5, E8. Write down all the branches E1, E2, E4, E5, E8, and then write down the chords. Chords means what? That edges which are not present in the spanning tree. So E3, then E6, E7, E9. Okay. For fundamental cut sets, we require chords. So write down all the chords here: E3, E6, E7 and E9. So write down all the chords here: E3, E6, E7, E9. Then draw that chord in the spanning tree. If we draw E3, E3 is here. We get here one cycle. So write down all that edges from that cycle. It creates the fundamental circuits. So E3, E4, E5, E8. Write down here E3, E4, E5, E8. Then go for next. Next chord is E6. So join E6. This is E6. So after joining E6, we get a fundamental circuit here having edges E6, E1, E2, E8. Write down here E6, E1, E2, E8. Again go for next. Draw the chord E7. So E7 is so here we get one cycle A to B, B to E, E to D and D to A again. Okay. So write down all that edges from that cycle. So E8, E2, E8, E2, sorry, this one is E7, sorry. This is E7. So E7, E2, E8, E5. E7, E2, E8, E5. Then go for next. The next chord is E9. If we join this one, E9, we get again a fundamental circuit. There are not two circuits. If here will be the vertex, then we will get the two circuits. But here vertex is not present. So circuit is this E9, E9, E1, E2, E8, E5, E4. Again we will go to E1. Okay. Therefore write down E9, E1, E2, E8, E5, E4. That's it. So this is fundamental circuit for the given tree and its graph. Next, we need to find out the fundamental cut sets. So write down first branches. Branches means what? The edges that are present in that graph. So names are not given here. E1, E2, E3, E4, E5, E6, E7, E8, E9, E1, E2, E8, E4, E5. So we require the branches. Branches means what? The edges that are present in the spanning tree. So write down that edges E1, E2, E4, E5, E8. Then write down the fundamental cut sets for each branch. If we remove this E1, so our graph will be like this. If we remove E1, so we get spanning tree like this. Two disconnected components. F is separated, A, B, E, D, C separated. So we need to write the fundamental cut sets. So itself E1. If we join E1, we get the connected one. Therefore E1 itself creates a fundamental cut sets. So write down E1. Then if we join E9, we get the connected one. Therefore E9. Next, if we join E6, we get the connected graph. Therefore E6 is also. Then that's it. Then go for next E2. If you remove E2 from this graph, here we get the two disconnected components A, F, B, E, D, C. Okay. So again here we can if we draw E2, we get the connected components. So write down E2 first. Then check for other chords. Okay, mistake is there, sorry. Check for other chords. If we join E6, we get here connected one. So write down E6. Then if we join E9, we get the connected. Therefore write down E9. Then if we join E2, done. If we join E7, we get the connected graph. So write down E7. Then I think so that's it. E2, E7, E6, E9. Okay, that's done. So complete the bracket. Next go for the branch E4. Okay, so remove E4 from the spanning tree. We get here two disconnected components. This one is separated and C is separated from that graph. Therefore we need to check which chords, if we join which chords, we will get the connected one. That chords will be right in a fundamental cut set. So for itself E4 write down, then check for others. If we join E3, we get the connected one. If we join E9, again we get the connected one. then E3, E9 and E4. There are 3. So write down all that 3 here, E4, E3 and E9. Okay. Then remove the E5 edge. So E5 edge, this one is E5. So remove E5 and check which chords we need to write down here. So first of all, E5 itself, then if we join E5 we get the connected one. So E5 itself, if we join E9 again we get the connected one. So E9 one. If we join E3 again we get the connected one. Therefore E3, E9, E5. Any other is there? So E5, E9, if we join this E7 we get the connected graph. Therefore write down E7, then that's it. Okay, so this is fundamental cut set respective the branch E5. Next check for E8. This is E8, therefore remove that edge E8. We get the 2 disconnected components. So again check which chords will join the 2 disconnected components. So first one E8 itself, so write down E8. Then if we join E9 we get the connected one, therefore write down E9. Next E8, E9, E3, E6, so write down E3, E6. Then if we draw E7 again we will get the connected one, E7, that's it. So this is the fundamental cut sets of the respective branch. Okay, clear? Next example is here. Find all fundamental circuits and fundamental cut sets of the following graph. Graph is given and their spanning tree is also given, but here we can see that the edge name are not given. Therefore for that we need to first write down the edge names of that graph. So write down the edge names: E1, E2, E3, E4, E5, E6, E7, E8, E9, E10, E11, E12, E13. So there are 13 edges are there. Okay, write down the respective in spanning tree also. E1, this is E11, this is E4, then this is E7, next this is E6, this is E10. Okay, so here branches are, write down these branches: E1, E4, E6, E7, E10, E11, and the chords are remaining edges. So write down chords: E2, E3, E5, E8, E9, E12, E13. Okay. For fundamental circuits we need to write down all the chords here. Write down respective fundamental circuits for that chord. So chords write down here: E2, E3, E5, E8, E9, E12, E13. Find out the fundamental circuits for each chord. So if we join E2, we get here fundamental cycle. Okay, so write down all edges from the fundamental cycle. E2, E11, E1. So write down here E2, E11, E1. Then for E3, where is E3? E3 is here. So we get here fundamental cycle which having edges E3 and E4 only. So write down here E3 and E4. Then go for next chord E5. Where is E5? If we join this E5, we get here one fundamental circuit. So write down all the edges from that circuit. E5, E7, E10, E11, E4. Okay. Then next chord is E8. If we join this E8, we get here one cycle having edges E8, E6 and E7. So write down here E8, E6 and E7. Then for next chord E9. If we join this, we get here fundamental cycle. So write down all the edges from that cycle. E9, E6, E7, E10. Go for next one. If we join E12, this is E12. Here we get one cycle. All edges write down here E12, E11, E4. Then go for next one. Next chord is E13. So E13, we get here one cycle. Write down all edges. So E13, E6, E7, E10, E11, E4. Okay. So this is about the fundamental circuits. Now we will find the fundamental cut sets. So for cut sets, we need to write down the branches. So I am solving here only. So write down first branches and their respective fundamental cut sets. Make table for that. So branches are E1, E4, E6, E7, E10, E11. We all know E1 itself contained in fundamental cut set. So for fundamental cut set, we need to remove that edge E1. If we remove that edge E1, so we need to draw a diagram first. Can we see from here? Okay, we will draw here. A, C, B, D, G, E and F. So if you remove the edge E1, so that edge, we get the spanning tree like this. So we get here two disconnected components. So write down all the chords which connects that two components. So E1 itself, if we draw E1, we'll get the connected one, therefore E1 is, then if we draw E2, again we get the connected one, therefore write down E2, then next only 2, so E1, E2. Next go for E4, if we remove E4, so E4 is here, we get these two connected components. F is separated from that spanning tree, so check whether which chord will connect these two components. So E4 itself, so write down E4, then if we join E3, again we get the connected one, so write down E3. Next if we join E12, E13, E5, so write down all that, E12, E13, E5. Next E12, E13, E5. Okay, I think so, that's it. So complete it. Next go for E6. So where is E6? Remove that line, E6. We get again here two disconnected components, E is separated from that tree, so E6, if we join E6, connected one, E8, then if we join E9, again it will connect. If we join E13, so E6, E8, E9 and E13. So write down here E6, E8, E9 and E13. Next go for E7. Remove the edge E7, E7 edge means this. We get here two disconnected components, so check which chords will join that two components. So first one E7 itself, if we join E8, E9, so write down all that edges here, E7, E8, E9, then any other, E13 is there, so write down E13, check for all others. So E7 is done, E7, E8, E9 is done, E13 is also done. If we join E5, again we get the connected one, therefore E5 is also there, so write down E5. Complete the bracket, go for next one. So for E10, E10 means we need to remove the edge between B and D. So again we get the two disconnected components, check which edge can connect it. So E10 itself, then next if we join E9, E9 is there, E13 is there, so E9, E13. Next if we join E5, again it will connect, so write down E5. Next if we join E8, there is no connection between those two components, therefore don't write E8. So that's it for E10. Next go for E11. So for E11, so for E11, check which edges can join that two disconnected components. E11 itself, okay, then E2, write down E11 itself, E2, then if we join E11 is done, E2 is done, E12, E13 and E5, E12, E13 and E5, okay. So that's it. So this is all about the fundamental cut sets and fundamental circuit. One more example is there. This is for homework. You need to solve this question by yourself. Thank you so much.